So Manchester United are heading to Brentford this weekend, but let me tell you, this is so much more than just another Premier League fixture. It's a test. A test for a new manager, a new star player, and for a club that is desperately trying to forge a new identity. Today we're going to break down the tactical revolution that's brewing at Old Trafford, and why this one match, well, it could define their entire season.
You know, this quote from a fan, it just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? It perfectly sums up United's biggest problem recently, a total lack of tactical identity. The plan, if you could even call it that, was basically to hope one of their brilliant players did something brilliant. Because there was no real system, no cohesive strategy to fall back on.
I mean, these words from the fans, they paint a pretty bleak picture, right? Disjointed, chaotic play. And that last one, terrorist football with a Swiss cheese defense? Wow. It's brutal, but it shows you just how frustrated people were. But here's the thing, that era of chaos, it might just be coming to an end, because there's a new regime in town. A massive shift is underway, and it's being driven by two key figures. They've been brought in for one reason and one reason only, to build a new philosophy from the ground up, and to finally replace all that chaos with control. And here they are. On one side, you've got the player, Bryan Mbeumo. He's the new engine of this offense. And on the other, you have the philosopher, the brains of the operation, Ruben Amorim. He's the manager tasked with building a whole new tactical blueprint. Make no mistake, these two together, they represent a complete change in direction for the club.
Okay, so first up, let's talk about the on-field catalyst, Bryan Mbeumo. And what a story this is, right? In a perfect little twist of fate, he's returning to face his old club, Brentford, the very place that made him a Premier League star.
So what was it about Mbeumo that made United go all in? Well, you're looking at it right here. He was the antidote to their stagnant, predictable attack. I mean, 891 off-ball runs last season. That's the second most in the entire league. He's a player who just never stops moving, and all that movement has one purpose: to pull even the most organized defenses completely out of shape.
And look at this, that incredible work rate is already paying off big time. He's already made 83 runs in behind defenses this season. That's not just a lot, that's the most in the entire Premier League. And you have to understand, this isn't just a player running around. This is a precision weapon, the exact kind of movement that Ruben Amorim is building his entire system around. And to put that into perspective for you, he's not just leading the pack, he's leaving them in the dust. He's way ahead of some other top forwards. What this shows us is that this isn't an accident. This is a clear, direct instruction from the manager. And in Mbeumo, he's found the absolute perfect player to carry it out. But hold on, because it's not just about the running. Not by a long shot. He's already playing the most minutes of any attacker they have, he's taking the most shots, and get this, he's second in the whole league for non-penalty expected goal involvement. The only guy ahead of him? Erling Haaland. That's pretty good company to be in. He is the central figure in an attack that is now creating some of the best quality chances in the league. Now, Mbeumo's relentless running isn't just random energy. He's a crucial, perfectly designed cog in a much bigger, highly structured machine. And to really get why he's so important, you have to understand the manager's blueprint. So this is how it works. Amorim starts with a base 1-3-4-3 formation. But the key is what happens when they have the ball. The whole thing fluidly shifts into this super aggressive 1-3-2-5 shape. And the whole point of this? It's simple really. It creates a massive 5-player forward line, designed to completely overload and stretch the other team's defense. Now this is where it gets really clever. Amorim's system isn't just about what you do with the ball, it's about what you do the split second you lose it. And that brings us to this critical idea, rest defense. By keeping players in central areas, even when they're attacking, the team is already in a perfect, compact shape to pounce. They're ready to counterpress immediately. You're literally defending while you're attacking. So what you get is an entire system built on clear, repeatable patterns. Attacking those little pockets of space, using quick third-man combinations to slice through defenses, creating 2-on-1s out on the wings. This is the tactical structure and clarity that the fans have been crying out for. It's a million miles away from just hoping for a moment of magic.
Alright, so the theory is sound. The blueprint looks great on a whiteboard, but a Premier League away day, that's a whole different beast. And this weekend, all that theory gets its first massive real-world test right there at the Brentford Community Stadium.
And man, this fixture is just packed with storylines, isn't it? But you can't get away from the biggest one. Bryan Mbeumo, going back to the club that really made him who he is today. You couldn't write it.
Now, if you look at the table, you'll see both teams are kind of struggling down in the bottom half. This makes this game absolutely huge for both of them. United are creating chances, but just aren't putting them away. Brentford, on the other hand, have found it tough to control games. For either of these teams, grabbing 3 points here could completely change the momentum of their season.
So if we look back at the last few times these two have played, Manchester United definitely have the edge. They've won 5 of the last 8 games, and they've scored a few more goals too.
Yeah, this chart really drives home that historical advantage for United. But, and this is a big but, history can be tricky. We all remember what Brentford can do. You just have to think back to that unbelievable 4-0 thumping they gave United in 2022. Their whole style, high energy, super direct, it's almost the perfect kryptonite for a team that's still getting comfortable with a new, possession-heavy system.
And that's why this match, it's so much more than just the 3 points. You can almost think of it as a public referendum on Manchester United's entire new direction. Is this thing for real? So when you're watching this weekend, here's what I want you to look for. First, Mbeumo's movement. Can his clever runs still work against the defense that knows him inside and out? Second, the system itself. Will Amorim's structured approach control the tempo, or can Brentford's relentless press just blow it all up? The answers to those questions, that's what's going to tell us if this revolution is actually happening.
So in the end, we're not just trying to predict a scoreline. This is about identity. It's about a fundamental question for one of the world's biggest clubs. Is this the weekend? Is this the match where we look back and say, that's when the Ruben Amorim era at Manchester United truly began? Well, we're all about to find out.